Maharishi Award for Education and Enlightenment is presented to an individual whose dedication to holistic education has impacted lives in all areas of our community. Tom Brooks, MUM's Vice President of Operations, will present this award. Mr. Brooks.
Thank you very much. Change glasses or you're not going to see much. This is a great, fun evening for me to present this award to not only a friend of mine, but a friend of both the school and the university. Tonight's award goes to Professor Ken Dayley. So I want to tell you a little bit about Ken and his career. Professor Dayley served for 9 years as a sport administrator and consultant for the province of New Brunswick, Canada. Then he joined the faculty of Maharishi University of Management and Maharishi School of the Age of Enlightenment as department head of physical education. This was back in around 1984. He's been voted Teacher of the Year at both schools, both Maharishi School and the university. Professor Daley has coached gymnastics at the club and university level. His activity as a gymnastics judge eventually led to an international rating in that sport. Professor Daley's area of research and publication has been split between sports science and electronic publication. He has presented over 30 times at the state, national, and international level in sports science, and 7 times at the state or national level on electronic publication. When did you do all this? He's authored or edited 9 books, manuals. He's authored 22 articles, developed 4 electronic journals, newsletters, and developed numerous websites. He's taught courses on basic computer skills and web development and acted as an industry consultant in web development. And just in the last few years, here's some of the things that he's done. He's been the executive director of the Iowa Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance. Was the executive director of Let's Go Jeffco. He was the program director for the Tobacco Prevention Center. He was an initiative organizer for the Blue Zone Project for Fairfield. He's a council member for Health and Human Services and co-chair of the Iowa Partners Action for Healthy Kids. That's just the recent ones. Ken has led adventure sport trips to 10 continental states, as well as Greece, Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, and Hawaii. And during the last 44 years, he's been active and an active professional in physical fitness industry, both as an educator, an administrator, and a participant. His preferred personal physical activities have varied over the years, but at present his sports of choice are sailing, rock climbing, mountain biking, and whitewater kayaking. Now I asked Ken for some information, so I can prepare, and he sent me 14 pages. And he said that I had to read every line, but I can't do this, Ken. Sorry. But just a couple more things before we get Ken up here. He came to MUM in 1984. He received his Bachelor of Physical Education from the University of New Brunswick in 1974 and got a Master's of Education in 1981 also from UNB. As I mentioned before, he was a freelance webmaster, consulting 1994 to present. He taught basic computer skills at MUM from 1997 to 2002. And I mentioned also his gymnastics judging background in Canada, and he became at one point the chief scorer for the Canadian National Championships in 1975. He's taught leadership and sustainability in Hawaii for MUM. He taught the leadership and sustainability in Hawaii for DePaul University. He's taught leadership and sustainability in the Southwest around the United States. And he co-led the Jefferson County Mental Health Alliance from 2015 until present. And it goes on and on and on. More than 25 grants and dozens of publications. And I think it's fair to say that almost no one has came to the university or the school over all of these 35, 40 years that hasn't been impacted by Ken through some educational program or some base camp, some outdoor activity, some fitness activity. So we've all benefited from Ken, and it's a great honor for me on behalf of all of you to present this award to Professor Ken Dayley.
Let's see if I can make notes or not. Whenever I think of Tommy, I think of my brother by another mother. Because Tommy and I go back a long ways, and we've done a lot of work together. He and Stan Lamont, we run base camp for a long time for the university. Base camp is where we take all of our first-year students out in a wilderness situation and spend 4 days together for team building and growth and development. And these two gentlemen have been instrumental in helping with that program. And I often think of it as our Groundhog Day. Remember the movie Groundhog? You keep repeating this over and over, but you keep getting it better and better. Well, the three of us have been doing that for long enough that I think, as far as I'm concerned, it's perfect. What they do with it next fall, I have no idea, but I'm not going to be doing it next fall because I'm going to retire this summer to pursue a little bit of sailing for a year or two, part-time at least. And then who knows, we may do that. Yeah, talking about the Current River, I did a calculation. The Current River is where we go down. I did a calculation on how much time I've spent on the Current River, and I've spent almost 6 months on that river. When you add all the time up, because many years ago we also did Maharishi school for a couple of weeks at a time too. So it comes out to about 6 months in the river and camping on the river. And the truth of the matter is, I don't like to camp. It's time for revelations here tonight. I don't like to camp. The only reason I camp is to be able to go out in those places. And the camping itself, I could do without. So on a boat, maybe would be a little bit better off. I'd like to thank my wife, Juliet, where she's in here someplace. She is. Oh, there she is. For putting up with me. She didn't realize when she signed on with me that she was going to become a saint. And I definitely have challenged her far and long enough to have her approaching sainthood with my running about doing that which seems to be necessary to be done. Seems to be. There is two things I wanted to mention. One is this idea of leadership, and I fully subscribe to something that Dr. Curley King, who was a trustee of the university for many years, and an incredibly fine gentleman, I asked him one time what his definition of leadership was. And he said leadership, in his opinion, is a person who figures out where a group needs to go and then helps them get there. Later on, I have a term for it, and it's called servant leadership. Not subservient leadership, but servant leadership. And I very much subscribe to that my job in base camps and all the things we've done is to try to figure out what people need to do. What is that important thing that's in development, and then help them get there. So that has always been strong. And it again comes back to the saying of see the job, do the job, and stay out of the misery. And I've spent a lot of time doing that. And it's interesting tonight that we're standing here, and it's kind of a little bit full cycle that we're at Maharishi School. Because when I first came here with my wife and our our daughter Sarah at that time, we were half-time at the Maharishi School, half-time at the university. And Richard Bell and I started the first athletic team that was at Maharishi School. It was a track team. And we were tremendous power actually in track, because at that point it was the only sport in the whole school that was being offered. So, and we had a good-sized school, and the amount of talent pool that we could draw from was very high. So we looked really good on paper as coaches, but the truth is we had a lot of talent that we brought with it. So it's interesting that tonight we're talking about kind of a full circle coming back to Maharishi School again, and that's what I want to share. Thank you very much for the award. I appreciate it very deeply. It's the sort of thing that we don't get a chance to do so much for each other, and I certainly appreciate it. Thank you for your time.